one of my idols in the space, king of the fourth corner, Kenny. His whole thing is just enjoy basketball. Like there were people, I will like to get into our main topic, which is Klay Thompson's return. First, I just want to say that we're going to only say positive things about Klay Thompson. We're just going to be very upfront. This is a very pro Klay Thompson podcast. I think the people that, the worst people in these communities are the people that tweet, "Oh, wow, Klay Thompson's the first ever to come back from injury," or things like, "Wow, Klay Thompson plays mediocre basketball." It's like, first of all, if you're like saying anything negative, or like there's people that literally are just posting missed shots, like you are a prick. Like, I'm sorry, you don't understand what it means to be a fan of the game, and you're missing and intentionally trying to take away from the magic of the night. Because listen, this was the most impacted I've felt watching a game of basketball since Kobe Bryant's final game. And this one hit hard, because that was a guy who for over 900 days did not get to play the game of basketball. Right. And I don't know about you, Troy, but just I got chills when they announced his name, when it was and now, I was like, oh, I'm getting chills literally just thinking about it. Troy, yeah. Talk about it. Like, just, yeah. What were your thoughts? What were your emotions?
Well, going back to that point of why you should respect Klay Thompson, I have one statement, and this is the only statement you need. Are you ready?
Yep.
He's a champion. He's a champion. He's a
champion, and he's a top 3 shooter of all time.
Ooh, something changed with our last podcast back in March when we did our Mount Rushmore. Is that right, Sean?
I think he will go down as the 3rd best shooter of all time.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, no, you're right, Sean. And I think the champion thing for me really hits home, because not many players have rings who have played in the league before. Mm-hmm. And not many people have more than one ring, and not many people started on a team with that. So for me, Sean, that just clears up the room there. But no, it was a great return. I think sometimes when guys return from that long, or not that long, but for close to that long, they can be a little bit timid, and they can be kind of afraid.
Klay Thompson was not timid.
Yeah, no, there was no timidness there. And I think another thing that people maybe do is kind of just more stick to that role of 3 and D. But Klay Thompson was getting to the hole. He was being aggressive. He was moving the ball around. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's 100% back to himself, but he's pretty darn close. Like, there was no red flags, I guess, in this return.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I think, listen, I think the only way we're going to tell what Klay Thompson is going to be, like, as far as his peak, and what percentage of Klay Thompson we can expect, I don't think we're going to know until about 25 games in. I think that's when.
And I think it'd be unfair to do any justice.
I agree. I
agree.
agree. But I'm just making the point that that's something we're not going to know until then, because of the fact that you have to get your conditioning back. You have to see, you have to get your legs fully under you, which he looks like he's in great shape. We could say that much. But I will say you can judge and you can question, what does their lateral quickness look like? What does their defense look like? Are they able to beat defenders, things like that? And Klay Thompson passed a lot of those early tests. I mean, lateral quickness wise, he looked like he was, as defensively stout as ever, or, at least like he was very effective on that end. Offensively, he was able to hit some pretty tough shots. And on this team, he's going to have to play a significant role in order for this team to win a championship. And he's showing that he can still create shots. He was creating shots in the mid-range. He was playing on the pick and roll. And like, a lot of the things that we haven't really been able to talk about is what he's going to be like fitting with a lot of these pieces, because this is a very different team than what he was playing with back when he got injured. He has guys out there now like Andrew Wiggins. He has guys out there like Otto Porter Jr., which, by the way, not, it's not Otto Porter Jr. Wendell Carter Jr.
Wendell. No. Wendell Carter's on the Magic.
What is going on?
It is Otto Porter is right.
Okay. I was psyching myself out. It's Otto Porter Jr. Anyway, by the way, what a fun addition he's been to the Warriors. Like the low
Mhm.
pressure, like kind of style he can play, and like the spark
Yeah.
plug he can be.
And he's a number 3 overall pick back in the day. He's a
Yeah,
top 5 pick.
yeah. Listen, like the Warriors, like yeah, everyone was like making fun of them over the past couple of years. It was the obvious downfall. They had to like retool and kind of rebuild, but this might be the deepest Warriors team they've ever had.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I can see that.
and the upside talent of guys like Jordan Poole, guys like Gary Payton Jr. Their ceiling is high, man. This could be dynasty run number 2, all written all over it, because this team is gonna be a threat to win it this year. They're gonna be a threat to win it next year, and they could be a threat to win it the year after that. Like that's they are going to dominate the West as long as Klay and Steph stay healthy, and as long as Draymond stays healthy as well, because they're just the best core players in the NBA of the past 20 years.
So they're your pick over Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, Phoenix is great, but Devin Booker is absolutely fantastic. He can absolutely do it. Um, Phoenix needs that third guy to step up in a playoff series. Like DeAndre Ayton has to be at his very best. Defensively, he has to be stout. Offensively, he's going to have an impact. And here's the thing. Chris Paul's not going to stop Steph Curry. Devin Booker's not going to stop Steph Curry. Who on the Phoenix Suns is going to shut down Steph Curry? Because whoever's going to have to focus on that, who's going to be left over to focus on Klay Thompson? Like Chris Paul can be picked apart offensively by Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors. And although I think the series would go to 6, I could see the series going to 7. At the end of the day, what team do I expect to pull it out? I'm going to go with the team that I've seen dominate the NBA over the past decade, and that's the Golden State Warriors. Especially if Steph Curry can overcome this drought and become, the Steph that's been ruling the MVP conversation, then yeah, that team is hard to beat.
All good things, Sean. All good things. Yeah, I think Jordan Poole too. You mentioned that name. That's the name for me that's really been impressive with this Warrior team, that I think goes into the depth of just how deep they are.
Yeah,
And
future sixth man of the year potentially.
Right.
Yeah,
Big time. And I think his contribution to me, I think, pushes that hump as well. I love Phoenix, so it's really hard for me to go with Golden State. But after they've been playing, I think Steph's only had a couple off games this year.
Now again,
which he has.
Now again, I take Golden State if Klay Thompson can come back and be Klay Thompson. You know what I'm saying? If Klay Thompson is 80 to 90% Klay Thompson, that's still Klay Thompson. You know what I mean? As far
even 70 is hard to compete with, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Because listen, he could still give you bursts of magic. That first night of him being back was magic. That game was straight magic. So this guy can still do it. And if he can, they're gonna be a tough beat. They're gonna be a difficult defeat. So, I just I don't see a team that if they're firing on all cylinders has the cohesion to compete with that. Even Milwaukee, sometimes they struggle as far as who's closing, as far as who needs to have the ball in his hands. And sometimes they don't always have guys that can pick it up if Giannis can't do it, which those nights are rare because Giannis is amazing. However, that's an X factor. So, that again, just can't say enough good things about Golden State, but Klay Thompson, his return was absolutely incredible.